We're live. I'm going to wait a couple seconds, a couple minutes, rather, until people come in here. There is something I did want to talk about, which is going to be Henneman's size principle of motor unit recruitment, something not a lot of people understand. And I'm going to give you a brief explanation on that principle so you have a better understanding of why you train and why I recommend training this way. So until then, I'll answer a couple of questions. If you guys, this is mostly going to be a Q&A, but I'm also going to go over Henneman's size principle of motor unit recruitment. But it is going to be mostly a Q&A. So if you do have questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. Not the private chat, put them in the comments. Probably helps with YouTube's algorithm. All right, number one. What do you think about, I guess I'll put it up. What do you think about keto diet and intermittent fasting? If you're doing all the things you're supposed to be doing properly, they're absolutely unnecessary. If you are eating relatively healthily with foods that occur naturally in the environment and not going crazy on your calories, if you're getting a well-balanced, well-rounded diet, training properly a few times a week, keto diet and intermittent fasting are a waste of your time. Keto diet is not a good diet, despite what people say. And the whole thing is people like to latch on to ideas and become part of a group or identify with ideas. And I think that's why keto got so crazy. But there is no benefit to keto that you would not receive with a well-balanced, well-rounded diet. And anyone who says otherwise is selling you snake oil. It's bullshit. The vast majority of well-conducted research shows this. Intermittent fasting. I mean, if you were to do nothing, okay, say you were extremely unhealthy, you don't exercise, you eat like shit, and then you implement intermittent fasting, yeah, it's going to have an effect on your health. But if you're doing all the things you're supposed to be doing to begin with, adding intermittent fasting is going to have a minuscule effect, probably likely something you wouldn't even notice. So if you're resistance training and eating properly, intermittent fasting, adding intermittent fasting into your lifestyle is not going to make a noticeable difference. There have been studies comparing different approaches to diet, intermittent fasting versus just a calorie deficit, and the outcome is exactly the same. At the end of the day, it has to be an overall negative energy balance. How you get to that negative energy balance seems to not matter in terms of fat loss. Does matter in terms of muscle preservation, keeping protein high. So intermittent fasting, yeah, not a big deal. All right. Do you apply I'm not sure what that means. Techniques to raise your intensity, such as rest pause or force reps? I like to do drop sets just because I like them. I'm well aware that they do not provide any additional benefit. The only benefit I get out of them is psychological. I just like the feeling of dropping the weight and going a little further. Again, there has been research conducted by James Fisher, James Steele, I believe Luke Carlson was involved too, on set extenders, such as rest pause, force reps, drop sets, whatever. No additional benefit incorporating these techniques in terms of muscle hypertrophy, growth, or strength, if you're going to muscle failure to begin with. So neither is better. None make any difference, but I prefer to do drop sets just for variation. Again, guys, you could see in the link below, it's my Patreon page. It is growing steadily. Thank you for joining, those who did. Most of the future content is going to be uploaded onto Patreon. YouTube will get some, but they will be shortened clips. You will be getting the full video as a Patreon member. You will be getting access to me, direct access to me through the messaging ability through the app to ask me whatever questions you want. And there will be discussion in the forums, demonstration of exercises, and all sorts of other content, along with live Q&As for members only. So go ahead and join for the good stuff. All right. What are some important micronutrients? So if you are eating that well-rounded, well-balanced diet that you should be eating and incorporating, high quality meats, the fat that comes with the meat, some fruits, some vegetables, whole grains, that kind of stuff, you're going to get all the micronutrients that you need. They're mostly going to come from the vegetables and the fruit. There seems to be a trend with iron deficiency in Western society, at least. B vitamins, things like that. So it's probably not a bad idea to incorporate B vitamins, micronutrient, or iron, zinc, magnesium. Throwing those into, you may be low in them. If you live in a place that isn't very sunny, vitamin D. But you're going to get most of it out of a well-rounded diet. But at the same time, I believe that throwing those supplements in to your diet, not going to hurt you. And it's going to make sure that you're, where you need to be. So, the hell is that? Iron, magnesium, zinc. If you're eating fruits, if you're eating all the fruits and vegetables, you're going to be getting a lot of that anyway. But I would say iron for sure. Iron for most people. Which is going to come from, vegetables, green leafy vegetables. Okay. All right. Interesting question. Let's see. Is your training comfortable and enjoyable? Absolutely not, and it should not be. If it is comfortable and enjoyable, then you're not producing a large intensity of effort. And a large intensity of effort, as we're going to go over in a couple of minutes with Henneman Science Principle, is required to recruit and fatigue the higher order motor units, aka the fast twitch type 2B motor units, which are more susceptible to improvements in muscular strength and size. Intensity is a requirement for this. Intensity is not comfortable. So, if it is, which it isn't, then there is no real failure and all the effort is in vain. All right, I don't know what the rest of that question means, but no, the training is not comfortable, and it must be uncomfortable to be productive, because if you're reaching a high enough level of intensity to reach the high order motor units, which are most susceptible for your results, it's going to be uncomfortable. Why are carbs like pasta not recommended? Because they're very calorie dense and nutrient deficient. So for instance, I'll just a small plate of pasta is several hundred calories, and there isn't much nutrients to go along with that. So carbs like that are not recommended because they're extremely calorie dense and they're easy to overeat. So you'll eat a lot of carbs and get a lot of extra calories that you don't need if you're eating a lot of carbs like that. There's nothing specifically bad about the carbs. Sure, if you're a really obese person, your insulin is chronically elevated, that's bad. But for most normal people, the carbs themselves are not bad. They're just not recommended because you're getting a lot more calories than you need usually when you have those included in your diet. Can I practice boxing and basketball during the resting days for your HIIT workouts? Yeah. If those are something that you need to improve at, yeah. I would do them on the days you are resting. And I wouldn't do them in boxing. Might be tough because boxing is a little intense, but basketball, sure. And then just listen to how your body feels. If you go to practice boxing or basketball and you've got no juice left, no energy, then it means you need more rest. But you can certainly do it on rest days. You should do it on rest days. You don't want to do it on the days that you're training. All right, you gave a formula to calculate daily energy expenditure, 9.8, it's 9.82, times lean body mass plus 370. Yeah. And you said that a multiplier is needed for your activity level. Does that not conflict with Ehrman-Ponzer results? It does kind of conflict with Ehrman-Ponzer's results, but that's still generally the guideline. I would go... And the reason I would say that is because a lot of you are probably going to need a lot more calories than when you use that calculation. That calculation, it's a guideline. All right. So I would use that calculation to get a general idea, but it's not going to be like set in stone. It's just a guideline. So what I would do is, I mean, if you're highly active, you're going to need more calories, not for like fat loss sake, but for recovery's sake. That extra energy and those extra resources are going to help your body recover from things that require a high amount of energy expenditure. It's not necessarily for the fat loss component, it's for the recovery component. Because if you are doing something super highly active and you're depleting your body, the outcome is not going to be very good. So it does, in terms of Ehrman-Ponzer's, when it comes to fat loss and metabolism, yeah, it does conflict, but I'm not really recommending it for fat loss. Like, if you're a construction worker, like, you're going to want to eat a lot more calories, or else you're going to feel like crap. All right. Then, apart from fruit, what carbs are recommended? Anything that occurs naturally in the environment. Pasta does not occur naturally in the environment. Wheat, the whole process. I mean, whole grains are okay, but the whole process of taking wheat and turning it into an edible substance, it's not a natural process. So you can get carbs from any vegetable. Vegetables are carbs. They just come with fiber. When people think of carbs, they think of the bready, doughy carbs. Those are not the only carbs. Those are only like wheat-based carbs. But things like sweet potatoes, squash, any kind of green vegetable, any kind of fruit. I mean, that's it. If fat loss is your goal and maintaining optimal or getting optimal body composition, you might want to stay low on the refined carbs, like the bready, doughy type things. Not that you can't even get ripped eating them. You can, but most of you have very average genetics, and it's going to be harder for you. I could get away with that. Most of you cannot. And if you could, you wouldn't be here right now. So again, you just stick with foods that occur naturally in the environment. Your body's going to respond best to those because it evolved over a couple of million years to evolve from those. Pasta's kind of new in the evolutionary scope of your metabolism. Pasta's pretty new. Rustical says F, whatever that means. If you had a home gym with only a power rack, a bench, and a barbell, what would be the top exercises to maximize gains for each body part? With only a power rack and a bench press and a barbell. I mean, a squat, a bent over row, and a bench press. Easy. Those are going to hit all the muscle groups, and you could also throw a pull up in there. You could do an overhead press, a bench press, a pull up, and a bent over row, and a squat. You probably get 80% of your potential just out of those movements if you did them properly. But for most people, that's not going to result in optimal results. If you gain more mass from a split or full body, which one is good for more size? Makes absolutely no difference which one you use when it comes to size. Neither is better for more size. The reason I do a split, my body mass has remained the same for several years. I'm anywhere from 208 to 215 pounds, and it stays like that. Yeah, neither is going to make a difference when it comes to size. If you're feeling if you feel like you're having a hard time finishing the workout on a full body routine, then it's time to do a split. That's why I do it, because when I train legs, it's so fatiguing, because over the years I've learned how to contract my muscles so well that with each exercise, I generate such a deep level of fatigue that the overall workout becomes more stressful over time. So I accumulate so much stress in the leg workout that I often don't have anything left for the upper body workout. That's when you split it. There's not going to be a size difference compared to either of the two. Your genetics are going to determine your size response. Let's see. If I train with the same weights and exercises once a week, how long should it take me to adapt? Depends on the person. That's all I can say. And, it depends. Like, do you mean adapt to using the same weights and exercises? Well, just do them longer. Say for instance, you've got 20-pound dumbbells and you can do arm curls. You can do 12 reps. And then by the end of the 2 weeks, you can do 16 reps until failure. You're going to just keep having to do more reps. Don't say, hey, I'm going to do 12 reps and then just do 12 reps. You need to be training to failure. And then just continue to train to failure. I mean, it's really, really simple. So construction needs more daily calories, but the Hadsas don't. Okay, you're missing the point here. We're talking about improving your body composition. The Hadsas are not looking to improve their body composition, are they? They're talking about just what they need to survive. We're talking about maximizing body composition. So no, the Hadsas don't need extra calories because they don't give a shit what their body looks like. If you do need extra calories. Stop trying to trip me up. You're not going to be able to. You missed my question above about important of varying routine. Let me see. Oh. How important is it to change up your routine? You don't need to change up your routine ever. You just need to continue. Don't change up your routine, because there are two aspects that improve when you do an exercise. There is the skill component and there's a strength component. So if you keep switching up your routine, you may notice that you're able to do more rapidly with a new routine, because your skill will adapt more quickly than your strength will. If you stick with the same routine, every improvement from there on out, you can be sure, is going to be a result of your improved strength. So switching up the routine can give you the appearance that you are progressing faster due to new muscle soreness and due to your ability to improve more quickly with each exercise. But the muscle soreness is just the side effect of doing a new exercise, and improving quickly is just a result of adapting to the skill component, the skill improvement of the exercises. So you do not need to switch up your routine. How are you after the dentist? Good. I had a wisdom tooth pulled. Thank God. That thing was killing me. Let's see. Do you ever do a push-pull leg sort of split? No, I do not. To me, that's just a huge waste of time. Why not do the push and the pull in the same workout? If I'm doing, 2 or 3 pushing exercises, why would I go to the gym and just do 2 or 3 pushing exercises and then wait a day and go back and do 2 or 3 pulling exercises? That's kind of silly. So I just put them all together. It'd just be a waste of a trip to the gym. So put them together. I used to do push pull legs back, when I was like 19 and didn't know any better. And that was because I did, my typical push routine would be bench press, dumbbell press, hammer strength press, chest fly, incline hammer strength press, incline dumbbell. It was just ridiculous. So when you're doing, when you don't know anybody, you're doing that many exercises, you're going to want a push pull leg day or leg split. But no, that would just be a waste of time. I mean, if you like to go to the gym more often, you could do that. But again, that's not going to give you any better results. It's just gonna, it's gonna fulfill your desire to go to the gym more frequently. I mean, that's about it. Instead of the typical 60 to 90 seconds, why not use a heavier weight that allows you to failure for it? You could. But you need to generate enough time under load to have the metabolic response too. So if you chose a weight that allowed you to reach failure in 20 seconds, you're not getting much of a metabolic. You need enough inroad enough time under load to develop, because the longer the time under load, the more inroad you get. And there is an inroad threshold. There comes a point where too much inroad does not result in any additional benefit, but there is a point where you need a certain amount of inroad to stimulate a benefit, and 20 seconds of inroad is not going to be enough. Yeah, he is correct. Not enough inroad. So inroad is the stimulus. Effort over time, fatigue over time. And if you don't, allow enough time under load, you're not going to allow for enough inroad, because inroad is the stimulus, enough inroad to produce an optimal stimulus. Sure, if you did a 10-second, 20-second time under load, you're going to see results, but it's not going to be optimal. Do you plan on watching Tokyo Olympics this month? Nah, I'm not into the Olympics. Do you think cutting is necessary at 6'2", 215 pounds, 15% body fat if I want to gain more mass? Cutting isn't necessary if you want to gain more mass. What I would do, as I recommend pretty frequently, is just, try to consume around maintenance calories. You're going to be a little over, a little under, and then just make sure your protein intake is adequate. So at 215 pounds, you're probably going to want about 160, 170 grams of protein a day. So as long as you're hitting that protein, you're going to be fine. Then maybe shoot for maintenance calories, just see what your body weight does. At 15% body fat, maybe losing a pound, half a pound, or a pound a week is good progress at that percent. You probably get away with a pound a week for the first 2 to 4 pounds of body fat, and then it's going to slow down. But in your case, I would shoot for maintenance calories and adequate protein. I would say 150, between 150 and 180 grams a day. You'd be good. Can cannabis interrupt with training, adapting, lungs efficient? Yeah, I mean, if you're smoking it, it's going to have a negative effect on your cardiovascular system for sure. In terms of training and adapting, I'm not sure. There'll be research on that soon, I'm sure. But I'm not a cannabis user, so I don't really know. I don't think cannabis, I think just like all things, moderation is key. Anything that you do too much of can be harmful. I wouldn't say it's harmful, by nature. I would say too much of it's harmful. Just like alcohol. A beer, not harmful. 10, harmful. It's the same thing. 1 slice of pizza, not harmful. 20 slices of pizza, harmful. Over time, of course. But I'm not sure the effects it has on recovery. I don't know. Because I'm not really sure the physiology of what it does to the body. I really have no idea. I'm way behind on the cannabis game. I have so little interest in it that I don't know a single damn thing about it. It's just not for me. Never was. Don't care. All right, let's see. What do you do if it seems like you've hit a wall in progressing on weights of an exercise? I can answer that question really shortly. There is a limit to how strong you're going to get. And people do not like to accept this. You may hit that ceiling, that limit to how strong you're going to get pretty quickly. And then your strength improvements from there on out are going to be extremely slow. So you're not hitting a wall. Your body is just reaching the ceiling or the limit of how strong it could get. And your improvements are just going to be a lot slower over time. You need to accept that. Start to backslide. Okay, wait. Stuck for a long period or even start to backslide. If you're backsliding, then that means you might need a little more. You need to reduce your volume or frequency. I would reduce your volume first, though. You haven't hit a wall. You're just progressing a lot more slowly than in the beginning, and then it kind of screws with you psychologically, and you think you're doing something wrong. You're not. Continue to do what you're doing unless you are regressing. Then you want to cut the volume down. But this is what a lot of people run into. They think, okay, say they're doing a chest press and they start at, we'll say 100 pounds, and then they improve to 150 pounds, and then they're at 150 pounds and they can't get any more for several weeks. They think they're doing something wrong and they need to change something. No, it's just the curve looks like this. Rapid in the beginning and it starts to taper off. It doesn't taper off, it just drastically slows down. So you don't want to change anything. You just want to be patient, and you need to accept the fact that there is a limit based on your genetics to how strong and big you can get. And for most of you, it is going to be modest. Ooh, okay. Some people say there's exercises for hypertrophy, just size, and exercise for strength. No, that's completely false. Your muscles do not get stronger without getting bigger, and vice versa. That's why they get bigger. The reason they get bigger is to provide more contractile tissue to produce more contractile force. There are certain exercises that bench press, deadlift, squat, for people who don't know any better, they attribute these exercises to displaying strength. And if you are not doing those exercises, you are not developing skill to perform them with a high amount of load. If you're not practicing those exercises, you're not going to be able to display a lot of strength in those exercises because you're not practicing them. So a lot of people think that because a lot of people use like hammer strength or selectorized machines, and then they'll get strong and then they'll go to a bench press and not be able to bench a lot. And they'll say, oh, those exercises must not have made me stronger. No, they did. The thing is, the skill from exercise does not transfer. Only the strength does. So what happened is you went and tried the barbell movement. Only the strength transferred. Say you practiced that movement for 2, 3, 4 weeks and you noticed your bench press went way up. It's because you improved your skill. The strength transferred. The skill from the hammer strength to the bench press did not. You practiced the bench press for a few weeks. You got better at it. Oh, and you notice your bench press went up. It's because of the skill improvement, not because the bench press made you stronger. Okay, we got to get this whole barbell movement versus machine thing settled because it's nonsense. Oh, here's a common one. Should you wait for muscle soreness to disappear before you work out again? Some people say you don't need to. Ellington, is it Ellington Darden? Forget who it is. If you're extremely sore, doing another extremely intense workout is said to get rid of the soreness by Ellington Darden. I have not tried it, but hey, you guys can if you want. I don't think it's necessary for muscle soreness to disappear before you work out again because muscle soreness generally only happens in the beginning. But it's up to you. If you're still sore and you don't feel like training because it's going to affect your ability to push yourself, then wait. You don't go like workout, get an adaptation, and if you don't work out again right here, and you lose everything. That's not how it works. It's just like a suntan. If you get tan and you want to keep the tan, your tan you don't wake up one day and go from tan to white, right? It slowly goes away over time, over a relatively long period of time. So you've got a huge window to where you can work out again. You don't need to force it in there. Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. How much did it cost for you to have the facilities in New York at the beginning? This is something I'm going to be covering in my Patreon group. I'm not going to cover it publicly because that's private information. So if you want to learn how I started my businesses, the process, the costs, join the Patreon group. There's the link. I'm not putting that all over YouTube, but I will do that for my private members. Is there any contraindications to HIIT training such as cancer or other diseases? Believe it or not, I've had a lot of cancer patients in my studios because cancer is a muscle wasting, well, chemo is muscle wasting. Cancer can be too. So, a lot of people who go through chemo get cancer, they end up becoming these kind of frail weaklings, and it's because they're losing a ton of tissue because it's all breaking down from the chemo. So I've had some cancer patients where just once a week I take them through just a big 5, basic, maybe a big 5, more like a big 7. Throw some abs and some and a lumbar extension in there to preserve or build strength. Preserve as much strength and tissue as you can while they're going through the treatment, and it's had a profound effect on how they feel and how they look throughout the treatment. We're able to preserve almost all the muscle tissue and strength just with basic exercises. So if you have cancer or some kind of intense disease, resistance training is going to mitigate the side effects of those for sure. All right. What would you do if your clients are improving on some exercises but going backwards in some? Is it concern you should? If they're going backwards, the volume of the volume of the workout is too high. I would take an exercise out or two. That's what I would do. I wouldn't play with the frequency. I think the volume is just too high because, again, as time goes on, your ability to inroad, aka your ability to fatigue your muscles deeply, improves. Your ability to recover from that fatigue does not. So you may need to cut back on the amount of fatigue. So yeah, that's what I would do. Just cut back the volume, take an exercise out, 1 or 2, and then see how it improves. I know that if I'm on a caloric surplus, I'll get fat. So how do I actually get big? You get big by maintaining adequate protein intake and time. It's just you're not going to get as big as you think you're going to get, and you're definitely not going to get as big as you want to get in the time frame that you're expecting. So you're getting bigger. Yeah, I would eat at maintenance level, and because you're probably going to eat a little over that anyway, and get adequate protein in. And then just be patient. You're not going to gain 10 pounds in 3 months of muscle. It's not going to happen. Again, otherwise you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't need my help. You got to be realistic, and realistically, the body builds muscle tissue very slow for normal people with normal genetics. Freakazoids with tremendous genetic advantage, they're going to build muscle very quickly. So you got to keep this in mind. I think I got bit by a mosquito. A lot of mosquitoes out here. Let's see. Stimulate muscle growth, size, strength, and protein. Yep, Ruan. Wow, I think it might be German. Uth, is it? He is correct. Be honest, you think the 21 convention, 22 convention have helped men and women at all? I don't know about the women, but the 21 convention has undoubtedly provided men with information that improves their lives. 21 Studios is a studio. It provides content directed towards men to improve themselves and cover their ass when it comes to things like women. I've been following the 21 convention and 21 Studios for, 8 years. I found high intensity training through the 21 convention. It changed my life. I would not be here if we're not for the 21 Convention 21 Studios with talks by Doug McGuff and Drew Bay. It's kind of it's always evolving. It's kind of more headed in the dating direct. I mean, it was initially kind of like pickup artists, dating, whatever. It's kind of more headed towards helping men avoid the common pitfalls with women, I would say. But again, there are many facets to it. That's mostly when it's centered on. But I bring the whole exercise piece into it because if you're a man and you want to live a productive life and be a good overall well-balanced man, you got to be in shape. So that's what I bring to it. But I am a proud supporter of the 21 Convention, and I think everything that it provides, men need. 22 Convention, still early. We'll see how that helps. When you do upper lower, how many days do you take between workouts? 1 to 2. But again, that's a moving target. Sometimes I could work out on a Monday, take Tuesday off, and then do lower body on Tuesday, and then I'll take another 2 or 3 days off. Sometimes I work out on a Monday, take Tuesday, Wednesday off, train legs on a Thursday, take Friday off, train upper body. I kind of adjust it. I don't have everything so meticulously calculated because you want to pay attention to those things, but they don't make as huge of a difference as you would think. Like, for instance, training your upper body on Monday, taking 2 days off, lower body on Thursday, and then training your upper body again on Saturday versus a Sunday is not going to make a difference. A lot of those little things are not. So keep in mind, like, where am I? Okay. Josh M., you just said the same question twice. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So a lot of these little tweaks that you can make to your workout are not going to take you from string bean to Jay Cutler. All right. It's not even going to take you from, it's not going to be the difference between 160 pounds lean and 185 pounds lean. Tweaking something like 1 day of rest or 10 grams of protein. It's not going to happen. So pay less attention to that. Pay more attention to training yourself really hard, getting good sleep, adequate rest, a couple days, and then eating high quality food and getting your protein in. Those are going to make the biggest difference. How hard you train and what you're putting in your body. If I increase my leg strength, will my flexibility increase as well, or should I stretch a lot for that? So here's the thing about flexibility. Your body will permit more range of motion through, will permit more range of a particular joint if you make the muscle stronger. Yes, that's true. But if you need to be flexible for a particular activity, say if you need to improve your flexibility for doing a split or something, you need to practice that joint angle. You need to practice that movement. So flexibility will adapt specifically to the activity too. But sitting on the ground and stretching for 20, 30 minutes every day, it's not going to transfer to anything else in life and make you more functional. Strength will transfer to everything in life and make you a more functional being. Laying on the ground and stretching for 20, 30 minutes is not. The stretching is so overrated. Stretching is temporary for most people. And your flexibility is mostly genetic, based on muscle belly length, tendon length, neuromuscular efficiency, all that kind of stuff. 6'1" and 160 have some fat. Shouldn't I be leaning it that way? Maybe because I'm small bone. Yeah, I mean, you probably aren't holding that much muscle, honestly. If you're still, if you still have some fat, maybe you're at 15% body fat. So you're, let's see, do a little calculation here. Okay, so you might only have 135 pounds of lean mass. You might not have that much muscle. If you add muscle tissue, you're going to be able to appear leaner at a higher body weight. It's that simple. You got to add some muscle. If someone performed a set with good form, do you think their time under load would be longer than if they went to true failure, even with poor form? I don't know. I have no idea. It'd be a good experiment, I guess. All right, let's see. All right, fat specifically love handles and chest. You just have, love handles is kind of where men store it mostly for some reason. So yeah, your body fat's a little high. So your body fat's a little, you just got to add muscle. That's what I would say. Add muscle and all that stuff's going to improve. How old are you? STPDED. This guy. How old are you and how long have you been training? Give me that information and give you a better idea. Josh M., have you ever thought about auditioning for a Bruce Wayne Batman role? Well, yeah, I would. I mean, I do have a modeling agent and I'm going to be getting into that soon, but I'm not taking hours of acting classes to do that shit. I mean, if they throw me in for something, yeah, that'd be cool. Here's a good question. You have good traps and shoulders. What exercises do you do for those areas? I have good traps and shoulders. What exercises do I do? Got nothing to do with the exercises. It's got to do with my genetics. I have extremely broad shoulders. I look weird. I'm like this. It's all due to my bone structure. My deltoids. I do very little deltoid work. Once every 2 weeks, I think I'll do an overhead press, sometimes a shoulder raise. Besides a horizontal row and a pulling movement. Like a vertical pull and a horizontal pull are going to heavily involve the traps, but I don't do, shoulder elevation or anything like that. Traps and shoulders. Remember, when you see a really developed body part on someone, it's very seldom due to how they train it. It's mostly due to their genetics. Some muscle groups respond very quickly. And for me, it's my glutes, shoulders, chest, traps. But, well, it's everything, honestly. Yeah. But what responds the quickest are probably my shoulders. All right. You're 25. Been training 4 months, lost more than 40. Okay, well, if in 4 months you lost 40 pounds, just keep at it. Dude, it's early. Way early. Man, 40 pounds in 4 months is crazy good. You just got to keep at it. You got a little fat left there. Just keep going. Man, that's really good progress. I wouldn't change anything. Continue to do what you're doing. It's going to slow down. 6'1", you still got to add some more muscle tissue, but no, it's good progress. All right, what is your weakest body part? How do you address the issue? My weakest body part is my triceps, and it's because I have a long triceps tendon and shorter muscle bellies, and there's nothing you change. I mean, yeah, and there's nothing I can change. It's just, they're just not going to develop. I mean, they look good, but you see some people, I see some people in the gym that just have these big, thick triceps, and it's because their muscle belly's long. I'll bring this down. Looks so good. So, as you can tell, I have a long triceps tendon. So I don't have very good triceps, but I have very nice biceps, which make up for it. So that's something you can't really change. I just train them like everything else, honestly. All right. We're about 45 minutes in. I want to explain something called Henneman's size principle. And again, just a little plug. Patreon.com, Jay Vincent. Got a lot of stuff coming. And just like the question earlier, I'll give you guys some insight on how I started my business and how to do it, because I was extremely successful with my studios, doing what I like for a living. So if you guys are interested in doing something you like for a living and making a shitload of money doing it, I can teach you. But join that. All right, let's see. So I want to explain Henneman's size principle to you guys. So how motor recruitment works and how a single set to muscle failure allows us to do this. So we're going to share the screen. All right, let's see. Okay. So as you guys can see, can you see my cursor? Cool. So our goal is to reach these fat, thick, glycolytic, high order motor units or fast twitch motor units. These are thicker motor units. They are susceptible to more hypertrophy, more growth, and because they are thicker and glycolytic in nature, they can produce more contractile force. The thicker the motor unit, the more myofibrils are inside, the more contractile units, the more force they can produce. So our goal when it comes to building strength and muscular size and stimulating the systems that support them is to reach these high order motor units. So how do we do this? Well, they are recruited in sequential order based on demand. So if you need a high amount of contractile force, your body will recruit order of motor units based on how much contractile force you need. If you're simply walking and don't need that much contractile force to propel your body through space, you're just going to need low order motor units. You're never going to touch these these motor units that produce a high amount of contractile force because you don't need to walking. Now, if I were to go lift a heavy rock, your body is going to go through the process. You're going to go use a huge amount of muscular effort really quick, and within fractions of a second, and within fractions of a second, your body's going to go, we need more force to move this rock. That's not going to do it. 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 It's going to go through this process of sequential motor unit recruitment really, really quickly and immediately get to the highest order motor unit it can to try to move the rock. So things like explosive lifts or lifting heavy will get you to these motor units, but it will do so by generating high peak forces. And these high peak forces are what cause connective tissue and joints to fail. So we want to get to these high order motor units without generating high peak forces in order to stimulate them to respond. So the fast explosive lifting will do this, but with a huge risk of injury. Lifting to momentary muscle failure does this. Lifting and lowering the weight slowly. Say we're doing a set of 10 repetitions, cannot get the 11th. The first couple of repetitions are going to be low demand, low force requirement. The first couple of repetitions, you're going to use these lower order motor units. These are going to take a while to fatigue, maybe 3, 4, 5, even 6 repetitions. Then eventually they're going to fatigue out. They're done. Reps 6, 7, 8. We're getting into the thicker ones. Since fatigue has set in, an available strength is declining, momentary ability is declining, you're going to start tapping into the higher order motor units. Then, when you have generated such a deep level of fatigue and have inroaded your momentary ability so much that the weight starts to feel very heavy, that's when your body's going to recruit and call on the highest order motor units. When you are reaching muscle failure, you are recruiting and fatiguing and stimulating the highest order motor units because the weight has exceeded your momentary ability. Now, we can do this lifting very slowly. We can do this over the course of 90 seconds, keeping peak forces minimal. Or we can lift really quickly and do this process by jerking and flinging weight and generate high peak forces, which are going to almost inevitably result in an injury. But the thing is, throughout your slow set of 10 repetitions, failing on the 11th, when you recruit and fatigue these fast glycolytic high order motor units and stimulate them, you cannot do it again. They're cooked. So each additional set following a set to muscle failure is just re-recruiting these slow twitch, low order motor units, which do not grow. So when you lift to failure, you've gotten the big high order motor units and they are done. Cancel them out. They're cooked until they recover within a day or so, maybe even longer. So all the additional sets after muscle failure are just re-recruiting these slow order motor units that don't produce much contractile force and not stimulating any additional benefit. So this is Henneman's size principle of motor unit recruitment. And this is why I say one set to muscle failure, because over the course of 16 to 90 seconds, when you slowly approach muscle failure, you're going to be recruiting and stimulating the highest order motor units and getting the highest amount of stimulus you can. Most of the time when people are doing multiple sets, each set of 10 really only taps into maybe intermediate motor units. And then over the course of 3 or 4 sets, they generate enough fatigue. By the time they get to the 4th set, then they have to tap in the high order motor units. But you can get to them with one continuous set of continuous muscular loading. All right. Does anybody have any questions about how that works? What are the requirements for getting into the fitness male modeling industry? Being handsome and fit. That's about it. So that's how Henneman's size principle of motor unit recruitment is, or how it works, and why you should train just one set to muscle failure and do it slowly. And if anyone has any questions on that, I'd be glad to answer them. Believe it or not, Bruce Wayne's dog in the comics was also named Ace. God, get out of here. I didn't know that. Ace. And my dog's also crazy. We killed a woodchuck the other day. Train to failure in 3 to 4 sets. Okay, right. All right, so that's the point I'm making. There's no need to do this in 3 to 4 sets. You could do this. How do I get this up again? Okay, yeah. No, where each set hits failure. Like I said, how do I bring this up again? Oops. All right. Is that it? No, that's not it. Hold on 1 second. I'll figure out how to bring it up. Okay. When you do this in one set and fatigue these fast twitch motor units, you can't re-stimulate them. You've already done it. So set 3, 4, and 5 are a waste of your time, because if you go to failure, you have recruited and stimulated these. You cannot do it again. It's over. So doing 3, 4, or 2, 3, the second, third, or fourth set is just going to be re-recruiting the low order motor units, because you've already recruited and cooked these high order ones and stimulated them. The additional sets are only going to re-recruit the low order motor units which do not grow. So doing 4 sets to failure is just going to generate more inroad that is going to tap into your recovery resources, make it harder to recover with no additional benefit, because you cannot re-stimulate these after you've done a set to failure. You can't re-stimulate them. So each additional set just generates more fatigue, more stress, uses more resources for no additional stimulation. You do not want to do more than 1 set to failure, because it's just going to have a negative effect. There's no benefit to doing more than 1 set to failure. Everything past that 1 set to failure is a negative. More stress, more fatigue, more nervous system fatigue, more wear and tear on the joints, more use of the body's valuable recovery resources that it needs with no additional benefit. With explosive lifts and high weights, other smaller motor units fatigue correctly. Smaller motor units are going to be fatigued no matter what the hell you do. Your goal is not to fatigue the slow order motor units. If you're fatiguing the fast ones, you're fatiguing the slow ones. You don't train differently to fatigue the slow ones. If you're working out with any sort of level of intensity, you're fatiguing slow twitch motor units. And your goal is not to stimulate slow twitch motor units. Those are the ones you're using all day. That's not your goal, because stimulating and improving slow twitch motor units results in no real physiological adaptation. It doesn't improve your strength. It doesn't improve muscle size. Your goal is not to stimulate slow order motor units. It is to stimulate fast, because when you stimulate fast, the slow are going to improve as well. With proper and consistent training, what is a reasonable time frame in which you are likely to finally reach your genetic potential and gains? Arthur Jones said within 6 months to 2 years. So I don't have any proof on this, but I would agree with him. Everybody's different, but I would agree with him about 6 months to 2 years. Probably closer 1.5 to 2 years. If you're training properly, is when you're going to reach your genetic ceiling. Why isn't this taught in physical education classes? Because teachers are stupid. That's why. I don't know. People don't know this. It's bizarre because it's very important. I mean, I would be surprised if I met a physical therapist that knew what Henneman's size principle of motor unit recruitment is. I've asked physical therapists. They have no clue what I'm talking about. They look at me like I got 14 eyeballs. They're not taught this either. So just because someone is a doctor of physical therapy and has a doctor next to their name doesn't mean they have any idea what they're talking about. Yeah, I mean, PE teachers, they're like, my PE teacher was like our assistant football coach, who was an absolute dipshit. He didn't know anything about football, and he didn't know anything about physical education. He was a babysitter for when we played volleyball in gym class. That's what our PE teacher was. What would be the equivalent to motor unit recruitment for cardio? So if you are... Let me do this again. Oh. So if you were doing steady state cardio, you're using these. And they are fatiguing and recovering over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. If you are doing uphill sprints as hard as you can, you are recruiting and fatiguing your high order motor units. But you're doing it with also generating peak forces. Let me try to find something else. I want to see if this will work. Hold on. Maybe I could find like a graph. Yeah, I can't find one. Let's see. bring this up again. Yeah, so cardio, you can do this, but think about how long. So think about how long you would have to walk until you felt like you couldn't walk anymore and your legs couldn't even produce enough force to walk. When you got to the point of walking or jogging where your legs felt like they were going to give out, that's when you'd be recruiting high order motor units. And how long would that take you? That would take you, man, hours and hours of walking in order to stimulate these motor units. And you probably wouldn't even get to the point. But yeah, if you were doing a sprint, you'd be recruiting fast twitch motor units, but a sprint involves a huge amount of momentum and force generation. So you'd be generating high peak forces, which is suicide to your joints and connective tissue. That's why you don't want to do it that way. That's why you want to do it slowly under control, because you get the same benefit and probably a better benefit with more inroad with almost no chance of injury. I read that you have to rest like 3 minutes between sets. Bullshit. I don't even want to get into why that is just so wrong. Would you put the fact that you keep getting in better shape? All right. Would you put the fact that you keep getting in better shape each year down to your diet, sleep, etc.? I wouldn't put it to my diet. I sleep very well, but I've also significantly lowered the amount of stress in my life over the last. I believe in living a very low stress, peaceful life. And I've eliminated so many stressors out of my life that I think that has a lot to do with it. You got to keep in mind that stress is stress. And if you have, psychological, work stress, emotional stress, relationship stress, all these things, and you're trying to recover from a workout, those are going to interfere with your ability to recover from a workout. You eliminate all those things and your body only has to worry about one thing, which is recovering from that workout. Then you're going to have better results. Does my wife also do it? I am not married, and I don't believe I ever will be. I don't think marriage. I don't know. I think in Western society, this is off topic. In Western society, marriage doesn't benefit the man unless he wants to have a family, and I'm not ready to have a family, so there's no friggin' need for me to get married. What are good exercises to counter scoliosis? All exercise, lumbar extension in particular. I'll show you. Well, I have a MedX lumbar extension to strengthen. Damn, why don't they have the normal one? Here it is. Lumbar extension to strengthen the multifidus muscle group. All right, I'm just going to share the screen here. So lumbar extension will strengthen the multifidi, or the multifidus muscle group that align your spine. But if you want to, scoliosis is genetic in nature too, but if you want to improve it, strengthening all the muscles in your body, of course, but doing a little more lumbar extension work like this. This is a MedX lumbar extension machine. I have one of these, and as you can see, it pushes your femurs back into your pelvis and kind of with the seatbelt and the combination of this mechanism, pretty much reduces any involvement of your pelvis, because your pelvis also helps in this movement. So locking the pelvis down, you're able to place most of the emphasis on your lower back or your lumbar extensors. And if you train to failure and use the full range of motion here, you're going to be able to stimulate the multifidi muscle to improve. And that will help with scoliosis. Is it normal to feel strange pain in the muscle like never before? You don't want to experience pain. you want to experience discomfort. If you're experiencing a sharp shooting pain, that's not good. If you feel a sharp shooting pain, you stop immediately and discontinue the exercise. What you want to feel is a intense burning sensation, discomfort. Then you're headed in the right direction. Under Armour or Adidas? Under Armour for sure. Adidas for shoes, Under Armour's pants suck. They're so tight. I don't know if because, I have like big quads and glutes and stuff. I can't fit in Under Armour pants. Or Adidas pants. They're thin too. With pants that go with Nike. Agreed on marriage. Friends of mine wonder. Yeah. Well, just sit back and watch. I mean, with a 60% fail rate, I'm good. How much time is needed to grow lats like CR7? The hell is CR7? Listen, whoever it is, their lats didn't grow because of time, and your lats will not grow like theirs with enough time. I'm going to look this up if this is like a real thing. Oh, Ronaldo? See, I don't watch football. Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah, I don't. Western society, the U.S. over here, we don't follow football like that. I don't even know who that is. He's like, I don't know. Everybody loves his physique. I think he looks like a shrimp. I don't think he has a good physique at all. Got linguini arms. I mean, he's fit, but I wouldn't even call this guy muscular. Shoot. He's very small. To build lats like him, I don't know, a day? No, I'm just kidding. Let me see. Here's Ronaldo. Let's see. Back. No, not background. He does not have big lats. So I would say his lats are achievable they're ripped because he's very thin. What does this guy weigh? Like 155 pounds? Let's see. I don't know. For those of you impressed by his physique, I don't know what you're impressed with. 183? Maybe. His height. 6'1", 183. Man, that's thin. That's thin, guys. Yeah, you can build lats like it. I mean, he's small. I don't even 183. Well, first of all, his height is probably upped. He's probably more like 5'11 because they do that in sports. And I would guess he's probably 5'11", 170. He's smaller, thinner. 6'2", they say. Who knows? They lie about all that shit. Makes it more impressive for TV. His lats are the result of being lean. All of your lats could look like that if you got lean enough to show them. No. How do I take this off now? Okay. You think a woman would divorce Incredible Hulk? Well, I don't know. If you're from the United States, women here are a little, I don't want to say entitled, but entitled. Yeah. No. Yeah, not taking that chance. He lost muscles on purpose to be agile. Ha! That's a myth. He might, if he was a little lighter, be able to move a little more agile. But here's the thing. The muscle tissue is functional tissue. More muscle doesn't slow you down. More muscle allows you to produce more contractile force and will actually move you quicker. So if he did that on purpose, he does not understand the physiology. Here's the thing. Muscle is also a very metabolically expensive tissue, which means that if you have a lot of muscle tissue, your endurance is going to suffer a little bit. All right, say he's 180. Say we believe what they say, and he's 183 pounds. At 193 pounds, it wouldn't slow him down. At 203 pounds, he'd have a harder time playing soccer because he's got to carry that much more tissue, and that much more tissue requires that much more energy, and his endurance would suffer. But I think he could add 5 to 10 pounds and perform better, definitely. All right. Question about being certification instructor. Can you just type it one more time? Let's see if I find it. Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, you don't need a certification to be a HIIT instructor. You also don't need a certification to instruct exercise. Most gyms won't hire you as a personal trainer if you're not certified. But if you're a personal trainer, you do not want to be hired by a gym. You get paid nothing. If you're a personal trainer, you want to pay a gym rent and build your own business through referrals, get cards, social media. I use an app called Thumbtack sometimes, and just put your profile up. People who are looking for personal trainers will find you. So if you're going that route, where you're just going to use a gym, pay them rent, and use their gym and get your own clients, you don't even need a certification. But if you want a certification and you want to learn as much as you can about the subject, hituni.com. You should take my course. But there are also hituni.com. Type it again. Has all kinds of, they have really in-depth personal trainer certifications for high intense training, and then they have short courses like mine. I recommend you take both. And that'll give you the foundation all in one place of everything you need to know to be a good instructor, rather than spending several years like I've had to learn the subject from people like Drew Bay, Ellington Darden, Doug McGuff, James Steele, James Fisher, Luke Carlson, all the guys. So, yeah, that would be a short route. Josh M, here's a hack. Yeah. People with darker skin look more muscular. Fact. That's, man, the mosquitoes. That is why bodybuilders get a spray tan before getting on stage. Yeah, Derek, yeah, go to Hit Uni. You could start off with my short course. I'll put the link here. And then after that, I go into some pretty good detail, but Simon with the other courses goes into a lot of detail, which when it comes to being an exercise instructor, people are going to choose you based on how you look, but people are going to stay with you based on how much you know. So the more you know about the subject of exercise, the more you're going to be able to stand out from the other trainers, and the better client retention you're going to have. Like with my clients, they'd ask me a question. So I would recommend taking my course first and then taking the others. They would ask me a question and I would know the answer 99% of the time because of how much time I spent learning about the subject. And most people who come to you for a trainer likely have had one before. And what I like to do, Ace, stop. What I like to do is, ask them what they did in the past and kind of explain to them why what they did was wrong and what they did with their trainer was wrong, and use some physiology to describe why it was wrong. And that seems to impress them. And if you can do that, you're going to especially get the client from the consultation and maintain them. Because the client will come to you and say, hey, this. What about this? What about that? I heard this. I heard that. And then you just disprove it with your knowledge of physiology and exercise. And then this is what happened in my case. My clients will, tell their friends, tell their family, tell their coworkers. Oh, I just hired this trainer. He knows so much. He's brilliant. He's this, he's that. Everything I'm doing was wrong. And then that gets the attention of everyone else. And then they come, then they have a workout and they go, holy shit, I've never felt my body feel like that. And, you know, that's how you build. So the more you can know about the subject, the better. These, you know, fly by night, you know, 22-year-old idiot guys who just like working out and, you know, have a little bit of muscle definition who become trainers, they're going to come and go all the time. They're never going to be able to do it for a living. They're just going to try it for a little bit while their parents pay for their college, and then they'll go, you know, work in a cube somewhere. But if you want to stand out and you want to be different, you're going to get and maintain clients based on how much you know about the subject. So study as much as you can and learn as much as you can. That's why subscribe to my Patreon, because I'm going to teach you what it took me 8 years to learn. I'm going to teach you this so that you don't have to take 8 years to learn it, and then you can apply it immediately. Bruce Lee, martial artist, exercised like a mother trucker, but never exceeded 140 pounds. Well, I mean, he was Chinese. They're generally smaller people. Yeah, I don't think he was a weightlifter, though. I think he did a lot of isometrics. Bruce Lee trained with high-intensity training principles, I believe. But again, it's it's genetics. 140 pounds. I mean, there are very few people walking around 210 pounds lean. No matter how tall you're. If you're 6'3", 210 pounds and lean, you're a bad mofo. But me, like just under 6 feet and 212 pounds, it's extremely rare. You can't use people who look like me or these other, you know, fitness gurus as an example, because we're very rare. We're as rare as, you know, people who are 7 feet tall. That's the way it is. All right. Well, yeah, we've been going for about 75 minutes now. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Just again, guys, you know, I'll do a couple more of these live streams, answer your questions. I hope you guys enjoyed the explanation of Henneman's size principle. Go back in the video, watch that a couple times, really nail it into your head, and then this stuff will make a lot more sense. If you have any questions for me personally, please join the Patreon. Message me through the messaging feature. Ask me whenever you want. So, you know, this will give you direct access to me. I go through and answer the questions all day. And put a lot of new content on there. So go ahead and do that. And I will see you guys there. So stay tuned for the next live stream, which will happen Wednesday, Saturday, early next week. And I'll answer more questions. And for those of you who join my Patreon group and want your questions answered now, join the Patreon and message me, and we will chat and figure it out. Yeah, Josh, the feminists don't like me, and I don't like them either. All right, guys. I'll see you in a few days. Take care, and get that brain churner for more exercise questions, because I'm here to answer them. Oh, also follow me on Instagram, J__Vincent, and subscribe to this YouTube channel and share it with people who may find this information useful. Take care, guys.